What's up guys, it's the Cheapster here back with another video, and I finally did it. I finally bought my first NFTs. I'm completely a millionaire now. I can't believe that's all it took. All these years I've been hustling, working, and trying to save and invest my money. All I had to do was buy NFTs. I had no idea, but yeah, now I'm a millionaire. So now I can retire on the beach, sit back, drink a drink out of a coconut. I mean, this is amazing. Okay, I'm just kidding. I wish they would have made me a millionaire, or, you know, made me anything at all. But you guys know my views. I've talked about them in the past on NFTs and what I think about them, and how, you know, I really think most of them are just probably bad, that are going to just be worthless in the future. And really the reason I think that is just because supply and demand, and eventually these prices are just seeming way too high to where do people actually want those, or are they just buying them to try to make money? And I think for the most part, a lot of the NFT market right now is just pumped up because people think it's gonna make them money in the future. We've seen this kind of thing happen before with the .com bubble, and it seems like that's kind of what's happening, but with the NFT markets now. But even though I think most of these are probably going to become nothing, there are probably going to be a lot of them that become very important, because you have to sift through, and those ones that are going to be important are probably going to grow a ton in value. But regardless, I kind of just wanted to give them a try, buy something in NFTs just to learn more about them and to get some content for a video like this one you're watching, and because I kind of accidentally bought them, and I'll explain that more in the video. So in this video, I'm going to talk about where I decided to first buy my first NFTs, even if it was on accident. I'll talk about why I decided to buy what I bought, and if my NFTs have gone up in value all the way to the moon, or if they plummeted all the way down to worthless and are just $0 now. But first, remember guys, this is not financial advice, and I'm just explaining what my experiences have been with buying NFTs, and you should always do your own financial research before you invest into anything. Also, before I get started, don't forget that there's a lot of referral links down below in the description that you guys can use to sign up to do things like get cash back on gas with Get Upside, or buy crypto on COINBASE, or earn interest on your crypto with Celsius. Signing up with those links really helps the channel, and I really appreciate when you guys do that. Alright, so now let's get into the video, and first I'm going to talk about what VeVe is and how I learned about it through a guy named Andre Jick on YouTube. Now, you guys may be familiar with a guy named Andre Jick. He has a YouTube channel. He's a very big finance YouTuber, and I've been watching his channel a lot this year. You guys should definitely check out his channel. He's got a lot of good information on there. Really helps you out learning about crypto, the stock markets, and everything having to do with investing or saving money. But I've seen over the past months that Andre has talked a lot about VeVe and the future of VeVe and what those kind of NFTs on that platform are going to be. So that got me looking into it. So that's really where all this started, was from watching that video that I'll link down below in the description that you guys can check out, and that got me looking into the VeVe app and buying my first NFTs. So let me first quickly explain what the VeVe app actually is and why it's different than other NFT platforms. So one of the big things that VeVe has, I think it's VeVe by the way, not VeVe. I was calling it VeVe for a long time, but I think it's VeVe. I could be wrong still though. But one of the big things that VeVe has is that they get big licenses with companies like Disney, DC, or USPS. And that's something that really sets them apart from other platforms, because they have these licenses that other platforms don't have. So they can't truly have things like Spider-Man on their platforms without those licenses. And if you're saying, well, I've seen Spider-Man on other platforms that don't have the license, that's probably going to be a copyright issue down the road, so it's good to buy from someplace like VeVe where you know that they are copyright protected, because they already have the licenses through those companies. So on the VeVe app, NFTs are divided up into different rarities, so there's 5 different categories, and that's common, uncommon, rare, ultra rare, and then the top dog, secret rare. Now I do kind of like this layout because it's kind of like the way we do a lot of other collectibles where there's different rarities. So at the end, I think VeVe has a lot more meat to it, and it's much easier for people to actually get first involved into buying NFTs, because it's not like the other things like OpenSeas where you have to actually know how to use a MetaMask wallet, or you have to use actual cryptocurrencies to buy them. And although that means that VeVe doesn't have the same usage as other things like OpenSea, but it is a lot more user friendly and easier for people who don't have a knowledge of the crypto world. This is just so much easier for people to first get started buying NFTs. So at this point, VeVe was looking pretty good. It was pretty cool. I was like, maybe I'll just throw some money in, buy something, and see what it does. But there was one thing with VeVe that Andre did forget to mention in his video, and that was when you buy gems, which is the app's currency, they're actually locked on the app and you can't withdraw that money after you buy them. So at the beginning, I didn't know that, and I actually didn't get tricked into buying through that because I found that out before I did buy any gems, but I did get tricked another way. So VeVe releases NFTs on what they call a drop, so that's when they first come to the market, and they sell for really cheap. But of course, don't get your hopes up, because man, oh man, is it hard to buy any of these things when they first drop. People are doing crazy things like hooking their phone up to Ethernet cords. People are making sure that they have the exact world clock pulled up so they can tap right at the time that it clicks. I tried to buy some on the drop and it was just impossible. So for your average person, you're not going to be able to buy the drops because they just sell for too cheap and they're going to be worth more after they drop. Which that's what I learned when there was a Batman drop that I wanted to get, and I saw it sell for like 60 gems or something like that, and immediately it shot up past the $1,000 gem point. So I mean, it was crazy how quickly that went up, and that's exactly why people want to buy the drop so badly. But not to get too much into the weeds here, because this isn't a review of the VeVe app, because I'll actually do that in a different video. But basically what happened was the base market price for that Batman at the time when I was looking at it was over $1,000, and I watched somebody accidentally list it for 150, that they were trying to sell it probably for 1,500. So I tried to buy that as quick as I could, trying to click yes, buy it, not realizing that it said I was going to pull $150 worth of gems into the app, which it did. And once I clicked the buy, it said this already sold, but I had already bought the $150 worth of gems. So this is how I got stuck with $150 worth of gems on the app that you can't take out after you do that. Now, I don't know if there's another way around it where maybe I could have contacted the Apple App Store and said I didn't mean to make this purchase and got my money back. But at that point, I was kind of like, you know, I was already thinking of doing this for the video anyway, so I kind of just stuck with it. But if you're in that situation, maybe that's something that you can do. But this is where, like I said, this is not a review of the VeVe app. This is just talking about the first NFTs I bought. I'll do a video about the VeVe app because this is definitely a good growing app that I think there's a lot of potential on. But there sure are a lot of bugs, including clearly what I'm talking about right now with getting my money stuck into it. It's kind of like a honeypot situation. But okay, that is the VeVe app and a little bit of backstory on how I even got involved in buying my first NFTs on it. But let's talk about what I actually bought on that VeVe app and why I bought what I bought. So I really wanted to buy more than one NFT. I was hoping not to just sink all the money I had on there into one, at least get two of them. And I figured what could be a good idea was to buy one that's more of like a brand backed one that would probably be a lasting name, that could be something that really becomes a collector's item, and then buy something that maybe I more personally liked that may not be so much like, oh, this is backed by DC or Marvel. It's just an NFT that I think is actually cool. So the lasting brand one, obviously I really wanted a good brand name, like something like Marvel or Spider-Man, something that was going to stick around that people would know, because obviously I think long term those are going to have the higher chance of being worth more. And very quickly I realized I couldn't afford most of the Disney product stuff, which is also like Marvel, because that stuff was just already so expensive, and even $150 couldn't buy most of those. But what I did come across was USPS gives VeVe a license to sell their digital stamps, which I thought was really cool because I know that stamps are already a very big collector's item in the physical world, so I figured maybe this will be something that will be big in the digital world. So what I ended up buying was the Winking Santa stamp for 60 gems, which is $60. And this was actually the uncommon stamp, so it's a step up in rarity, so it's like the second rare out of 5. But I thought the stamp was pretty cool, and owning something that's like a collectible that's so collected in the physical world, I thought was pretty cool, that probably will have value down the road. Also, knowing that these are some of the first USPS NFTs that are coming out, I figured gives it some value, so that's kind of why I went with it. And just a little side note, funny story on this stamp here. I was actually at my mom's house, and I was sitting in a chair in her family room, and I looked down, and underneath the chair, I see the secret rare stamp of the USPS Santa collection. And let me tell you, if that stamp that I saw under the chair had been the one that I actually bought, I would have lost my mind. I was having an absolute freak out Matrix moment where I was kind of like, my NFTs are coming to life. What's reality? What's real? Am I in the metaverse? And the story has a very logical explanation, kind of, but what it ended up being was just my mom was sending out cards and she had a bunch of stamps. But even though she didn't send out any of those Santa stamps, I guess that was somehow in there and it fell down and it was underneath the chair. But that was a really weird story that I was like, what in the world? I felt like I was living in the metaverse at that moment. That really had me questioning all reality for about 30 seconds. All right, so that was the NFT I bought that I figured should be really backed by a brand that should have value. So now onto the NFT I bought that was more just what I personally liked and what I just kind of wanted to own, which in doing this made it more personal and fun to buy NFTs, which is really what collectibles should be in the first place. And what I ended up on is a pretty funny NFT, and it is called the 2-Ton Sam, and it was for 81 gems, which is $81. And I know that that's a lot of money to put into this, but obviously my money was already stuck in there, so I figured, why not put the money into stuff anyway, because I can't get it out regardless, and it's content for the videos like this one. But if you're wondering what this NFT is, it's from a collection called the Cereal Killers, and that's cereal spelt like the cereal you eat. And basically I just thought that this collection was really funny because it's basically a parody on cereals that are just filled with sugars, because it's like saying, you know, that they're just not good for you and they're kind of branded to you as good. And it probably makes more of a statement than I'm even trying to make. I just thought it was actually kind of funny anyway, so I thought it'd be fun to own that. But they have a lot of these, like instead of count chocula, it's count calories, stuff like that. I just thought it was really funny. Not to mention lately I've been on keto, which has made me really pay attention more to sugar, and man, cereal has way too much sugar in it. So that is what I ended up buying, and about as ridiculous as I figured buying NFTs would be. So now that you've seen the NFTs I've bought, it's been about a month, so let's talk about how things are going now and how much value those have. So in all honesty, the value of my NFTs now are going not great, and that's probably because actually that video that Andre made. Now what I didn't know at the time when I watched that video by Andre is that the price of things really just jumped up like crazy in the app. Obviously because tons of people watched that video and tons of people came to the app, just like I did, so people were buying stuff, and especially people were buying stuff in the expectation to just be able to have more money. And I can see that that's exactly what happened by looking at the price of things and how it's jumped up and came back down, which shout out to an app called Vault Value. I think it's only available on the iPhone, but it's a really cool app that shows you the price. It tracks the price of all the NFTs, which gives you more of an understanding of what the price range is and where they've been selling for in the past, so that you don't overpay for something, even though maybe I kind of did. And what this all meant is basically just I bought at the worst time, because I bought after Andre made that video, which is when everything was really inflated with all the new people who came to buy NFTs on the VeVe app. It really wasn't a good time for me to buy, but that's also just the short term, and maybe that'll look a lot better in the long term. But anyway, let's get into my prices now and talk about what actually has happened with those NFTs and how much I've lost. And like I said, it's been about a month since I bought those. So starting off with the Winking Santa NFT, I bought that at 60 gems, which is $60, and it is now selling in the marketplace at the lowest price of 32 gems. So that gives me a current value loss of about 28 gems or $28. And the 2-Ton Sam that I bought for 81 gems or dollars is now selling in the marketplace at the lowest price of 58 gems. So that gives me a current value loss of $23. So obviously not going very well, but very surprising. I've lost more value in what I thought was the less risky one, and not as much in the one that I thought was going to be the more risky buy. The Winking Santa stamp has lost 47% of the value since I bought it, and the 2-Ton Sam has only lost 28% of its value. So keeping in mind that the USPS one is the brand backed one and the other one doesn't really have a brand backing it, because the 2-Ton Sam one isn't actually Kellogg's, it's just a parody of it, the brand backed one has lost 19% more value than my personal pick. And of course this is just currently, and I plan to hold these for a while, but that's definitely not what I expected to see. I'm pretty surprised by that. So that's what I got, and that is the current value of them. So what does all this mean for NFTs in general? Obviously it means that NFTs are awful. They only exist to lose you money, and you should definitely never have them. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't become that much of a cynic yet. Even though personally I have lost value at this point, I did learn something really important through doing this. And what I learned was collecting them is fun. It was so much fun, like looking at the NFTs and choosing what I wanted to buy and collecting them. Which, don't get me wrong, it could be seen as a waste of money, yeah, but a lot of things we do are a waste of money. And I think these NFTs really have their value in how much fun people have in collecting them. Especially when you go to interact with them in virtual reality or augmented reality, that really gives them a lot more tangible tangible value. I mean, when I was putting my 2-ton Sam in augmented reality in my room, it was pretty cool to see. It made me think this is worth more than I thought. But the big problem with NFTs is all the people that are coming in to buy them that don't actually care about what the NFT actually is. They just buy them and think line goes up. Those type of people really inflate the value of the NFT marketplace. And right now the NFT marketplace is flooded with people that are buying like that. And to me, this is very clear by how ridiculous some of the NFTs are selling for. And even though this is circumstantial and this could definitely change in the future, I find it very interesting that the NFT I bought more for the investment did worse than the NFT I bought personally because I just liked it. This kind of reminded me as a millennial how much people said Beanie Babies were going to be such a big investment and Pokemon cards were a big waste of your money back when I was a kid, and look at the values now. That's just some food for thought. But thank you guys so much for watching this video and watching my journey of buying my first NFTs. I'm very interested to keep watching how they do, and I'll keep you guys updated with what happens with them down the road. If I lose more money or if I gain a lot of money and go to the moon and become a multi-millionaire off my 2-ton Sam. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, remember to do the cheapest thing you can today. Tap that like button. Also subscribe to the channel to keep up with this and for more content about crypto, NFTs, stocks, investing, all that kind of stuff. And don't forget to look down below in the description for those referral links to help you guys save money on a bunch of stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. And remember, stay cheap. Even though I bought an overweight toucan for $80.
Hey, you better be saving that money. Don't you be spending it now. You're still here watching this? You might as well just subscribe. Why would you not at this point?